I'm going to show you how to tie a figure 8 knot like this, and then how we attach it into our rigging at the aerial studio. So first off, we're going to be using one of these paws. We'll have 2 quick links. The quick links are going to be on the outer circles, and make sure they're tight. Every time you're bringing the hammock up and down or putting a new apparatus on, always check your gear. And then we'll have a swivel on each quick link and then an auto-locking carabiner. The figure 8 knot will go into each of the carabiners, so we'll have one end of the hammock in each of the carabiners for our aerial hammock. All right, so I already have a figure 8 knot done here, and you can see there's a loop on top. That's the opening where we would bring the carabiner in. I'll show you that in a minute. And then we have our tail. So this is the tail. We need to have a minimum of 6 inches to 12 inches, so in between there of tail. I feel like it's usually about 10 or 12 just to be safe. We also want to be checking if the tail is ever getting shorter, because that probably means that you tied the knot wrong. If we have too long of a tail, we're kind of wasting the hammock, but if you want to make a shorter hammock, then you would have a longer tail. Most of us like to have a longer hammock, so having anywhere between minimum 6 inches and around 6 to 12 is where we go at the aerial studio. That's going to be preferred. So I'm going to remove the figure 8 knot and show you or remind you how to do it. So first off, you're going to want to make sure the ends are all neat and folded or gathered together evenly. If they are not even, you will feel it in the hammock. You'll usually feel that maybe one side when you're sitting in it or laying in it is tighter than another. And so I typically just go and fold the ends and try and make it as perfect as possible and even as possible. So I just keep folding and folding and folding until I can't really fold anymore, and then that's going to be my end. And so I have it pretty perfect. Then I'm going to start having a longer tail than 6 inches, because wrapping the fabric around into the figure 8 knot is going to use some of the tail. For me, I'm holding with my thumb underneath, fingers on top, creating a little loop, and then I usually have about 3 feet of tail. Now I'm going to grab with my left hand both sides of it, the tail and the main line, and then put a little bit over a foot of space in between. I'm going to switch. My right arm's coming down, my left arm's coming up. I'll have a little elbow bend to help me wrap it around. I'm gonna wrap this top loop around 1.5 times, so where my thumb was right here. So then I'm gonna bring this loop through that loop and pull it through nice and tight. Then I will put the carabiner into that top loop. Make sure the fabric is not caught in the gauge, and then I can pull down on the tail. Ultimately, the knot is still going to get tighter. So once I've tied both ends and put them into, here, I'll put the other end in there, right? I tied this one earlier, but don't worry, I'm going to tie the figure 8 knot a couple more times just in case you want to see it up close or just you want to see it again. So let's put the carabiner into the other end, making sure the fabric is not in the gauge. So now we're set to go hang it by the swivel on our point. But because I just tied them, it's going to be important that you hang it, tie it off, pull it up, and then sink your weight into it so the knot can really tighten. I like to do this before I let the students do it, because it's a little scary for a student, especially someone new, to get into it and feel like it's sinking. There is some stretch to it because we have long ropes because of the pin rail and we have really high ceilings, but we want the knot to be already nice and tight before we begin practicing. All right, You want to see the figure 8 knot again? Let's do it again. Okay. These are easy to take out right now because I just tied them and I haven't sunk my weight into them. Once you sink your weight in, it's a little bit more challenging to take them out. Okay, so holding on, we have a nice about 3-foot tail. Grab on with my other hand, slide down. Then I'm gonna switch. You can see where my thumb is right there? That's where this loop is gonna go in. Switch, left arm's up now, wrap it around 1.5 times, and then bring it through. You can see right here, I'm sticking my fingers through so you can see. So there's a little loop here and a loop here. You're gonna bring bottom loop through the top loop and pull through. And then pull on the toe. So this is a minimum of 6 inches, so we're good. And then you can bring the carabiner into that top loop. Then we want to check all of our gear before we hang it, and all of our gear when we're switching out to another apparatus. These quick links, you want to look to see if it's maybe coming unscrewed, and then just finger tighten it. We don't need to over tighten it. We don't want to ruin the threads. Just finger tight, and continue always checking that the fabric's not in the gauge of the carabiner and making sure that the carabiner is locked.